how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Monsters. This is Season 2, Episode 20, and this one's entitled Microminds. It originally aired March 4th, 1990, was directed by Anthony Santa Croce, and stars Troy Donahue and Belle Avery. And this is definitely one for you sci-fi fans. It's a cheesy little sci-fi story, and I'm surprised it wasn't adapted from something made in the 1950s. It's one that kind of walks that fine line between being high concept and nerdy, but also being kind of stupid. You know, you'll get the amoeba person going, I am an emissary of Gawk, and that's a name for the thing. But you'll also get the scientist guy making horrible decisions for stuff that is clearly a trap. Yeah, kind of cheesy, retro, throwback, sciencey stuff. I will say this is one of those micro-world stories, and those are always kind of interesting, and I realize they become kind of their own subgenre. I mean, you had that Love, Death, and Robots episode where Mary Elizabeth Winstead had that tiny world in her freezer, and then there was that Futurama episode where Bender's floating through space and has a world on his chest plate. There's probably a ton more. I think the Twilight Zone did it too. I'm sure someone in the comments will leave a list of micro-world stories, and it's always fun, but that being said, this isn't the best example. There's supposed to be these weird little, I don't know, bacteria, amoeba things. I would love to see how their world works because they respond through the computer. I don't know if they're just doing that with their minds or if they have tiny bacteria computers. And, you know, okay, that could be through thought. They do math, that could be through thought. But at one point they say, hey, build this machine for us that's totally not a trap. And I'm like, a machine, so you have mechanics? And this whole time I'm wondering, are they just floating in the water, or do they have little tiny bacteria houses? I don't know, I would love to see more of the world, but we usually just get cheesy computer graphics. There's some fun moments at the end of the episode, I won't spoil it, but it decides it wants to be alien all of a sudden, and we get the main girl going through an extreme costume change where she looks like a completely different character. And I have to say that probably is the funner part of the episode, her sneaking through the lab and seeing a goofy as heck monster in this episode. I think that's a little funner than staring at the computer and doing a bunch of techno-babble. Whatever though. Like I said, it's not great. It's a fun enough little B-side, and if you're science fiction fans, this will be the one for you. But yeah, it's kind of dumb as well. But I guess in order to analyze that further, let's take a bit of a look at the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to break down and analyze a few things. I'll be avoiding the end bits, but let's dive in a little bit. We open up with these two scientists at a university, and he's going to check in on his female colleague because she hasn't shown up to classes in like 3 weeks. And it turns out she's been receiving signals from space, answers to complicated mathematical equations. And at first the professor thinks, oh, this must be a prank. What's up with that? The wavelengths or something are too short. It can't be from space, maybe a satellite. Again, a lot of technobabble. But when he goes to inspect the machine, he drops a tool and the people in the computer start to scream. And they put together that, plus they talk about, you are the builder of the walls and we're in the water. They realize, oh, a microscopic colony has developed inside of our coolant tank. They call themselves Gawk, and they're kind of one of those hive mind things. And yeah, that name, especially when he's going to be saying that he is God later, maybe you could have picked something that sounded a little bit more different, but whatever. They're going to talk to them and talk about how there are other sentient strains, but you know, they're wanting to reach out and communicate, and the professor guy immediately starts trying to explain the outside world to them, which would be a a huge, hard to understand thing, and the female scientist is a little more hesitant, and they start to go in, they start to learn, and the amoeba people send over plans to build an embiggening ray. I don't know what you call it. Something to send an emissary through into our world, and right off the bat, 1 million red flags there. The male professor decides that he wants to pursue this path, and the woman will say that's a terrible idea. And like I said earlier, we will get a strange and sudden turn where the episode randomly decides it wants to be alien, but whatever, it's fine. Like I said, it's kind of cheesy, and the way the professor will stumble into obvious traps so quickly and so often, it does get a little frustrating. And, you know, the way the amoeba talks, it is super cheesy and super on the nose, and you do have a feeling that you've seen this before, even though tiny worlds, they're a trope, but they're not super common. I don't know. It's a fun enough, cheesy little episode, but it's definitely one that I have to say don't expect the world out of it or anything. But say, hey, if I'm in the mood for an old school sci-fi story that feels like it was made in the 50s, you know what? Let's check that out. It's a fun little B-side, but ultimately nothing special. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Monsters playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about more of the past episodes, you should be able to find them there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist here. Have a good day now.